Hi everyone, Charles from the Food People here. I hope you're all keeping safe and well. It's literally the greatest pleasure to welcome Jess and Jo, co-founders and directors of the Flygerians. Today we're going to be not even talking, we're going to be deep diving into Nigerian food culture, including what inspired the Flygerians, their journey, Nigerian food in the UK, some of the signature dishes that are on the menu, and so much more. Honestly, it's been like 12 months about getting this date in the diary. So welcome, Jess and Jo. It's so good to have you join Food People in conversation with.
Hi,
Hi,
Charles. Thank you for
Charles.
having us.
It's an absolute pleasure to be here. So we're very much looking forward to it.
Yeah, well, we're going to be talking about all the things that you love in just a few moments' time. I just wanted to introduce the podcast for those that haven't listened to it before. At the Food People, we're very clear about why we do what we do. We're champions of change, driven every day by our intent to shift the future of food and drink by harnessing the power of trends. And this In Conversation with series is all about talking to people and brands and businesses and entrepreneurs across the food and drink spectrum to find out more about why they do what they do and how in their way they're shifting the future of food and drink, which together you two most definitely are. So let's kick things off. Let's start with some kind of intros. Who are you both? Where are you speaking to us from today? Let's just do the basic intro bits. Who wants to kick off?
I'm Jess.
And I'm Jo.
And we're the Flygerians. These sisters bringing the sweet taste of Nigeria to London. I'm based in Bromley at the moment, but South East London. Our business is born and bred Peckham.
Wild.
Yep. And we're predominantly South London based where our offices are. But we travel anywhere the food will take us, or anywhere that anybody wants to chop life and enjoy the baddest Nigerian cuisine.
Excellent stuff. That's brilliant. Right. So for anyone listening, I mean, I've had the great privilege of hearing you speak and impart all of your kind of fabulous, infectious energy around what you do and Nigerian cooking. But can you just tell us, the Flygerians, what is it? Take us there, paint a picture of what the Flygerians is all about.
The Flygerians is all about enjoyment, having a good time. It's all about transporting you to Nigeria without you ever having to board a plane. It's all about you breaking bread with friends and with strangers that then become family. For us, it's unity, it's social inclusion, and it's a positive space for you to enjoy and let your hair down.
Right, okay.
The Flygerians is all about breaking the barrier between the Nigerian food and the British forethought market. We use our dual nationalities to kind of like influence and encourage people to try Nigerian cuisine. Also use our charismatic personalities, and we cook food that's accessible to all, really, regardless of their dietary requirements.
Yeah, okay. So this is the Flygerians is what I'm going to loosely call it a restaurant, but tell us a bit more about what it is, what's the vibe, what's the style. Just tell us a bit more, help us imagine it.
The Flygerians is a very relaxed style. It's all about coming as you are, no matter what you look like, where you're from, like Jo mentioned, no matter your race, your gender, your sexual creed, whether you've tried food or not. We want to feed you, we want to give you a seat at our table and allow you to be yourself, but also be a part of the Flygerian experience, which is vibrant. It's taste tantalizing dishes that will have you immersed in our culture. It's beautiful energy, it's positivity. It's also about spreading that love and uplifting the community. So everything we do is for and around the community.
Exactly.
We support local traders, and we work with loads of different charities as well as children in the local area. And it's all about being a part of something bigger than yourself, a movement that is world domination.
Brilliant. Jo, is there anything that you'd add to
Yeah, I agree. Like, we do so much work with different areas of the community. We work with the LGBTQ plus community. We also work with the elderly. We also work with the young kids generations, teaching them how to cook. We've done some work with the South London Gallery, teaching them about how to make sustainable small meals that can also be bulk cooked, and provide them with the basic skills that they can use to kind of help with their family or look at future planning. So
Yeah.
we're all about like just growing the community and supporting the next generation and paying penance to the ones that are already here above us. So we're all about like just connecting with everybody, because like there's such a that during lockdown I feel like people that became kind of like into themselves like individually.
Yeah.
And what the Flygerians tries to do, we try to bring everyone a social hub. Like you'll never catch me and Jess just going out to see friends one-to-ones. We're always like, everyone just come. You know, if we're having a party, everyone come. And that's what it's about, getting together, you know, having meaningful conversations while chopping life over some delicious food.
Can you?
Which we make.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. And can you talk a bit about the sort of inspiration for Flygerians? And I've read your book, which everyone should get a copy of, right?
Yes.
It's so inspirational, and seeing the you're also playing with some fusion in that book and that kind of thing. But right at the beginning, you pay homage to your grandma Mary and other members of your family. So tell us about where you get your inspiration and your love of food and drink from. Tell us a bit more about those people.
So our biggest inspiration is our family. I think one of the pillars of her community was our grandma. She's inspired everything we do. She's made us who we are today in terms of the Flygerians. From the age of 9 and 10, she was teaching us how to cook in her kitchen. And for her, it wasn't just about feeding us. It was about sharing love, expressing gratitude, and being grateful for what you have. So for her, it was all about hosting cookouts where nobody got left behind. It was all about including everybody and making sure that everyone could eat at that table. But also it was a time to be with your family, to digest your day and kind of be able to process it with people who are like-minded as well. So for us, one of our biggest influences is our grandma, which is why we pay such big homage to her. Without her, we wouldn't be us. So for us, it's about that community feel. And but we're also inspired. We're also a bit inspired by the FHO. You go.
Yeah, that's all right. Yeah, but I think we're also like our immediate family. This book was until the second book, but this book is really dedicated to our immediate family. Like we're one of 8 or 2 of 8, and we grew up so closely. Like we're sharing one TV, like 6 kids in one bedroom. Like we literally live on top of each other. But our family ethos was that your family, you know, should always put them first, and we grow together in it. And we've kind of just get that. We've got this weird, sickly but beautiful family bond that everybody just knows each other, and we hang around, and it's a laugh. Like your family are your best friends, and this book really is just about our journey growing up. It's with such like in a large household, but as well as growing up as like British Nigerians, it tells a story of us, you know, like being first generations here, our parents coming from Nigeria, migrating here, working back to back, and just their struggle and their achievements to obviously raise 8 kids, but you know, and want them to do great. So it tells us that it highlights our dual nationalities of being British Nigerians or Nigerian British.
Yeah.
So that's why you get a bit of the fusion in the meals, but it pays homage to where our home is and where our culture's from.
And I think just because we were, like Jo mentioned, part of such a big family, one of the things that we could do to relieve the stress of our mother was cooking. I think with our grandma, we would drop there for 6 weeks at a time every summer holiday by our parents. And maybe the other 6, well, at the time 6, there's 8 of us in total, weren't as interested in cooking as we were.
Yeah.
But for us, it was a chance to bond with our grandma. But also when we got home, it was encouraged by our parents to cook and to make sure that we can lighten that load for our mother, who doesn't enjoy cooking so much.
My mum doesn't like cooking, but
Yeah,
her mum did.
Her mum did. So for us, it was that opportunity to bond with our grandma, but also to feed our family and lift that load from our parents.
Yeah.
And it also meant we got the biggest meat in the pot first.
Yeah, exactly. So we were fed first because we could.
The hands always get the biggest portions, right?
Exactly. So
can
for us,
see
it was great. It was a beautiful thing that we've now been able to harness and turn into a business, especially when our nan passed. And we thought, how do we turn this into a business to keep her legacy alive? But also, how do we make sure we make an impact for Nigerian food and make a stance in our community to make sure that we are lifting ourselves, but also honouring our family as well.
Yeah. Are there some either signature dishes in the book or on the menu that have or maybe they all are, but that you taken, directly taken from those formative cooking experiences with your grandma?
Yeah, absolutely.
I would say, yeah, definitely. The jollof rice has been taken from our sort of experience, but I feel like we've jazzed it up and made it a bit better than grandma. I'm sorry, grandma.
Yeah, we've made it Flygerian
We
now.
made it Nigerian jollof, grandma. I love you, but that jollof, we've mastered it to the T now. But I definitely say, well, some of the big dishes, like the big chops, like the okra stew, egusi soup, some of the ogbono, which is the more authentic swallow food, which is we call swallow, which is basically like a pounded yam, which is yam that we kind of like blend, pounded, and mold into like sort of a, I hate to say it, but it's like a mashed potato. If I can explain it to the British community who's never had Nigerian food today, I would say it's a bit more of a starchy mashed potato, and you literally dip it in soup and then you swallow. It's a wholesome meal, but they do take about 5 to 6 hours to cook. And
Wow.
those sort of recipes are the ones that I remember most cooking with my grandma, because it'll be a whole process of washing, cleaning, boiling, steaming, frying, and then molding and blending. And it was a whole day process which will start because we'll go to the market from 4 a.m. and then finish cooking the whole process by 6 o'clock, ready for dinner. And those are the dishes I would say that particularly as well pay homage to our grandma and our Nigerian culture.
And even as well with the things like the puff puffs, I think for us as a kid, that was a beautiful treat. Nigerians don't necessarily have desserts, but we have things like small shops and starters. But I think we've broken it down into a dessert type because it can be cast as a dessert. And I think in the modern day, you see people use it as a dessert a lot more. But things like the puff puffs, molding and making that with our grandma, making the dough, frying that off and being the first to be able to eat and enjoy those, they're beautiful memories that we would cherish, but also wanted to make sure that we represented because they're big staple dishes in the Nigerian community.
Yeah, no, amazing. You can tell just from the way you talk so passionately about it that you when you're talking, you're going right back to those times and those experiences with your grandma, which is wonderful to hear.
That's why I was always smiling, Charles. Like when you ask these questions, like the excitement, the fast paced talking, everything just comes all at once.
It comes
literally like this book has literally ignited all those old school memories that we had, some of the stuff that we may have forgotten about. I think we were speaking earlier about we used to all eat at one plate. Can you imagine the chaos of like a family of like 10, so 8 kids plus 10 plus 2 parents all sitting there dipping their hand in one bowl and everyone eating from it was chaos.
Unhygienic. No, I'm joking. But no, it was a beautiful experience.
It is.
It's life-changing because you bond that way. I mean, when you realize, and in that playing field, when food is presented to you like that, you feel like you're all equals. It's like in that moment, you and your parents feel like equals, even though in our Nigerian culture, you're definitely not because there's a hierarchy of adult and child. But in that moment, when you're bonding with them, it feels like a wholesome experience. Like it never leaves you. And I think it's so easy to kind of share and enjoy certain aspects of life with people when you've experienced life in that way. You're grateful for it. You understand that like these people are not here forever. So why not take that time out of your day just to sit down, mold that food together, dip your hands in all together and enjoy it.
There's a real unity, isn't there, that comes with sharing food. Everyone's got the same need. Everyone's, irrespective of the hierarchy, in that moment, everyone's starving hungry, and the same need, same basic need, and you're all like satisfying it together, aren't you?
Exactly. And there's no beautiful feeling than knowing that you've cooked that dish and that everyone's enjoying it and they're licking their fingers and saying, this is delicious. And obviously washing it before they dip it back. We have rules. We have rules.
And it's like now, when you look back and you think about those times sitting there breaking bread and eating with your family, you realize how precious those times were, because nobody has that much time as we would like to do to sit down with our family like midweek or middays, just coming together. Well, and trying to get everybody together all at once in their adult years, it's hard. Like adulthood's rough.
Let's just so you've given us a bit of an insight there into like your inspiration, but how did you go and when did you go from having all those sort of formative experiences to forming the Flygerians? When did that happen? What was the kind of process that happened there?
So I think the most significant moment in our process where we went from, because I was studying law at the time. Jo's she's an occupational therapist and she has her master's in occupational therapy, so she followed it through. But for me, the reason why what hit me was when our grandma passed. I think it's the same for Joey. When our grandma passed, we thought to ourselves that this woman was so great. The imprint she left on her community. She was a member of Shoreditch Church, and she would always cook for church. She would always make sure that people were fed, no matter how well off or how little she had. She would share every aspect of what she had with anybody who asked or anyone she felt needed it. So for us, we thought that was such a beautiful thing to have, and it kind of shaped who we are as people and shaped the people who we have become. So for us, it was all about making sure that we continue that legacy. We didn't just do that for ourselves, but we did it for our community and lifted Nigerian food to the forefront of the British food market, so that everybody would know just how beautiful our culture is. I think one of my favorite sayings is it's the Britain's best kept secret, Nigerian culture. There's so many of us here, and there's so many other Nigerian restaurants. So for us, it was about doing that, but being unique and different. So we started our fundraising at Waterloo because our parents, being traditional Nigerians, said that they would not support our business. It was either lawyer, doctor, engineer. That's it. So for us to embark on such a journey, we had to kind of take the initiative ourselves. Me and Joe decided that we're going to go for this full throttle. No matter what happens, we've got each other. So we're going to push, we're going to strive, and we're going to make it a success. So Joe, I'll let you do the second part.
So we kind of we handed out some Christmas cards and was like, can you support us? Can you donate us to our business? We've got this big bold idea, but we've got no money. So so we did that. We had that Christmas card saying, Merry Christmas, donate to us, go fund our business. And we managed to get about £200, which wasn't too bad. And it gave us enough money to buy the ingredients. And we thought a good way to kind of break into this food industry is doing pop-ups. When you go into a kitchen pub residency, you don't need to buy equipment or anything else. You just need to be able to buy the food. And hopefully when you make money, you spend the money to buy more stuff. And we just used that £200 basically to fund our initial sort of first pop-up, which kind of extended. It started off at the old Untitled pub. We were there for 4 weeks, and then went from 4 weeks to 8 weeks. Then 8 weeks, we were there for 5 years. From 1 day to 3 days. And then in the last 3 years, we then went on to own our own bar in Peckham Palms. So it's been an uphill, and it's been a beautiful journey. And if we were to break down all the random experiences that we've had, like with big contractors. We did in our first couple of months, we just started when we worked with Tabasco, like doing a bit of barbecue thing. We worked with Nike. We started feeding like Nigerian artist celebrities like Thames, Arya Star. Like we started doing all these big campaigns for like 50 years of hip hop and stuff like that. We've done like all these random things that everyone's just passed on through word of mouth. Even like the Tuco event, like Sarah saw us on like Sunday brunch. I don't even know how we got onto Sunday brunch, but they just messaged us and love your food. I love your personalities. Do you want to come on Sunday brunch? Went on Sunday brunch, Sarah saw us, and then we got to present at Tuco. But then what also happened is that we ended up getting to write this book. Someone saw us like, why not make a Riley and Peters? Like, we'll make your dreams come true. Like, we'll write we'll create this book for you. And it's just been like a spiral of like different chain reactions of things. But I'm a strong believer in it. Whatever you put out into the world, you get back in it. Your time will come when it's your time in it. And if you just keep working hard, the dedication in it, and enjoy and love what you do, then you can never go wrong. Yeah.
And I think you're going to get a lot of no's in life, and you're going to get a lot of setbacks, because our journey isn't one that hasn't had that, or hasn't had loss of finances or things like that. I think that's all a part of the process. It's how you deal with that and how you recover from it that kind of takes you further. I think when you're so passionate about something, you care about it a lot, you cannot afford to give up. You're allowed to wallow for a day, for a few hours, but the next day you get back up, you start again, you get on social media, you make that post, you turn up, you email people, you find out what's going on, because you can't afford to give up in this game. Because I think the biggest loss would be having a dream and not fulfilling it, as opposed to failing itself. There's going to be many failures. We call them challenges here at Flygerians, never failures, because you learn from every experience, and every time you learn from something, you move forward, and then you deal with things in a better way. So it's all about riding the process through the highs, through the lows, but again, believing in yourself and understanding that you can achieve your goals no matter what. And be a good person. Be a good person. Share that love. Any opportunities that you see that maybe not be for you, spread it to another person who may make a better fit. But also embrace things with open arms and never be afraid to take help.
tell us a bit about your slogan, because I feel like it really sort of feeds on this conversation. You
Yes.
talk about chop life before it chops you.
Yes, chop life before life chops you.
It's a must. It's a way of life. It's our mantra. You know, chop basically means eat, but it also means enjoy. And the mantra is like enjoy your life before it ends. You know, live life unapologetically yourself, but whilst being mindful and respectful of other people. You know, life is about enjoyment. I think we get lost, especially living in a big city like London, isn't it, into this rat race, and we're just going to work, making money, looking at opportunities, but are you really enjoying what you're doing? And fair enough, if you want to go for a job that is high paid, stay there and enjoy your high paid job, but don't lose yourself in it. You know, do stuff that you're passionate about, do stuff that you enjoy, do stuff that are meaningful, that keeps you active. Otherwise, you lose yourself. And it's all about enjoying, breaking bread and having fun. That's the main thing. I think sometimes in life we lose the element of fun within things, and I think if you're going to get anything to do it, but do it the best, but also have fun with it.
And I think our culture as well is very big on like enjoying when you're old. And I think that is not the way. You should enjoy every step of the way. No matter how big or small, count your wins. And no matter how big or small, like Joe said, even if you are working your big financial jobs or whatever it is you're doing, or corporate world, it is a rat race. At the same time, the small things like even just growing your own tomatoes. I was speaking to one of my friends who said that she started growing tomatoes. And that's what been her solace and her peace. Find things, no matter how big or small, that give you that little bit of pleasure to enjoy and chop life. And that's what it means. Chopping life can come in many different forms. But at the end of the day, it's all about enjoying yourself and also and being happy. Just be happy.
You don't know what could happen to you any day, but you don't want to live life thinking, I wish I did this or I could have done that. Like, do it. Just go out there, enjoy yourself and do it. If you're gonna do somewhere, just enjoy.
And don't do it at the expense of anybody else. So make sure you're enjoying, but also you're not inflicting any pain or something.
Be mindful, be demure.
Be mindful, be demure. Very mindful, very demure. Classy.
That's brilliant. And that feels like that is also reminiscent of the spirit of Nigerian food culture itself. That feels like that, almost like that notion of chop life before it chops you. Feels like that's like an embodiment of Nigerian food culture anyway.
100%.
Would that be right?
I think it's not even just our food culture, it's even the people. I think most Nigerians, like Joe likes to mention, that you see us, you hear us before you see us. You know a Nigerian before you walk into the room, because we're vibrant, we're full of life, we're full of love, we're full of joy. And we always try and implement that in any space we're in. So I think that is definitely embedded in our culture as well as our food and the people we are as a community. And hopefully we can share that with everyone. Everyone can be like us. Welcome to the Flygerians.
I guess like all cuisines, you know, no cuisine is a static thing. Cuisine and cuisine culture is it's an evolving journey. How, in your view, is where is Nigerian food culture in the UK? How is it changing? How is it evolving, do you think?
So I would say that Nigerian food culture has always been like sort of South and East London based, I would say, innit? Like originally there was a massive community in in Hackney, actually, similar to where our grandma grew up, around Hackney, Haggerston, all around there. London Field was predominantly a Nigerian community, but obviously with things with gentrification and moving everybody out, that community has kind of gone and kind of lost from there, kind of sadly, but we regenerated it in Peckham. Like it used to be an old school geezer place, only fools and horses, but it's the second home to, or the first home in London to Nigerian food and culture. And I feel like it's growing everywhere. Like now you're seeing like different Nigerian spots out there in the culture. I think people are intrigued, people are enticed by it, people want to know and try different Nigerian foods. And I feel like because there's this growing culture and a growing attention towards West African cuisine, I think people in the Nigerian community are more willing to share it. You know, we're not thinking, oh, maybe that only my community will eat my food, but they're seeing other influences and they're seeing other people go on TV, or like Dragon's Den. There was a lady that went there with her son to open Jollof Box in Hackney, in Dorset Market, and she got bidding and funding, and people like, rah. Like people actually love and buying into this.
Yes.
They only used to see like what Caribbean culture. They thought in terms of black food, innit? That the only food that they knew there is Caribbean food. But it's like people are now interested in knowing what they're eating in West Africa, in Ethiopia, and everyone's
Yeah,
excited. And all the chefs and all the aunties that were cooking in the kitchen now are getting shops. They're creating pop-off recipes. They're
yeah,
getting jollof sauce spots. They're doing all types of things. You know, all the chefs that have had these skills, you know, that have never maybe didn't have the confidence because they thought there wasn't an interest, is coming out now, and
yeah.
everyone, the market is becoming big, which this is beautiful.
It's super
Yeah.
exciting, but why do you think it is? Why do
I,
you, what's the why
yeah.
behind it?
I think it's the movement of Nigerian interest in music. I think music has
Yeah.
been a big, massive cultural shift in terms of shaping the way Nigerians are portrayed, especially West Africans and Africans in general. I think growing up, we were very used to seeing Nigerians starving on, or Africans in general, starving on TV, looking for money with charities. And
Yes.
because of the exposure through music, they've seen people and shows like The High Life that was showcased on Channel 4. You've seen Africa in a different light, seen
Yeah.
people enjoying themselves, not starving kids hungry all the time. It's
Yeah.
showing the beauty of our culture, the beauty of our music that everyone can kind of resonate with, whether you know the language or not. And I think Nigerians, especially now, we're at the forefront of the music industry in terms of Afro beats and the artists like Davido, Wizkid, Asake. There's so many different people that have now paved the way for the culture to be explored. But I
Yes.
think generally, as well as in the food, I think Nigerians are now looking for not just because Joe's already said, like mentioned that we've mastered it now. We're out there. But what people are looking for is ways to revolutionize Nigerian food. And I think that's what we do. And if you actually look at our book and not out of the authentic stuff that we do, which is absolutely amazing, never let those die, but also looking for new ways to showcase our food, like with our jollof arancinis, our chinofi pie. And again, that plays a big part of our dual nationality, but also our mindset of taking Nigerian food further in the food industry and
Exactly.
making sure that we can relate and bring cultures together. Because if you look at Peckham, it's a melting pot of different cultures. But again, the biggest community there is the Nigerian community. But and the Nigerians and Flygerians to the world domination. Here we come.
Definitely. I would even say, what is that? It's also the that just also highlighted is our music, but the power of the internet, the power
Yeah.
of connectivity, and able to showcase different our culture and different cultures, and how we live and how boisterous in our energy. And I think that's also influenced that. But you know, like the influence is gone even to Michelin star. We got Joke who opened Chizuru in it, and she's the first female black Michelin star like chef out there restaurant. And then we got another restaurant called the Coco's, and he also got a Michelin star too. What, two West African chefs restaurants that got
Yes.
high restaurants. That's groundbreaking. Like there is it's not that people are intrigued, and I think they're respecting the cuisine and the flavors and the craft of it and the
Yes.
understanding. So I think people like that are making moves in
Yeah.
everyone's making it moves in different aspects of the West African cuisine, even whether it's street food or it's even refined to a Michelin star. So
Yeah.
it
And
goes to show there's no boundaries on our food. Our food is equally as great. And those two prominent figures in the cooking industry, of Coco and Chisiru winning the Michelin star, it just goes to a statement, you know, how
Yeah,
great
and
our food
it's good
is.
for all of us. And I think
Mm,
when one of us win, we all win. And I think that's a positive thing.
Yes.
We always champion each other. It's never a competition with Nigerians. It's all about kind of making sure, especially in the food industry, I'll definitely say everybody wants to champion each other. Everybody wants to see each other win. So it's that community feel of being a part of this epic and amazing change and this forward movement as well, I think. But also education. I think education has a big part to play because you're never 2 meters away from a Nigerian in London. Let's be honest, we're everywhere. And
it
I think
is.
people asking the right questions, people actually being intrigued to understand, as opposed to
Mm,
ridiculing a culture.
Yeah.
I think back in
exactly.
the day, it was very easy for people to kind of dismiss what they didn't know
Yeah.
and see it as wrong. But now I think the forward movement in terms of education,
Mm,
people are so much more willing to kind of find out why people do a
Be
certain thing
open.
or
Yeah.
why people eat a certain thing and what it actually means to them. And I
Yeah.
think that all the things we mentioned just now go hand in hand
mm.
in terms of taking Nigeria to the next level and our food.
Does fashion come into it as well as our
Oh,
question?
yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely. Look at our
I would say
kimonos.
I would say fashion as well,
Look
but
at you, man.
representation. I would say
Yes,
representation is key.
Yeah.
Like when we're represented in the music industry or the fashion
yes.
industry, the way we dress, the way we act, the way we cook,
Mm,
Yeah.
every form of representation in any
it
industry, when you see somebody
matters.
doing something out of the box, like you've got the grime artists like Skepta that broke. It's London Fashion Week at the minute.
Yeah.
That Skepta created his own sort of fashion, and he's a Nigerian British, similar to us, you know, and he's there
Yeah,
breaking boundaries of people being in the fashion story, being a grime artist from Hackney, East London, being Nigerian, breaking those boundaries as this figure also inspires the next generation. You know, when you have these role models in the community, or when you have people that are willing to push boundaries, you know, to enter doors that somebody weren't open before, you know, people, it lets the next generation grow, and it just keeps pushing further.
Yeah. And it gives people the confidence to kind of express themselves. If you look at artists like Ashake, the way that he dresses in terms of embracing that mod punk culture, which is something that's not been seen before within the Nigerian community. I think having people show different aspects of their personality and who they are through how they dress, through how they present themselves, really resonates with other people. That people can relate to that. Oh, I like that kind of style too. And it does make people kind of want to connect a little bit more when they stop seeing you as distant strangers and start seeing you as a person of their level and equal. And I think fashion does have a big part to play in that as well. I think people are starting to say, oh, we like similar things. There are similarities just because we're from different parts of the world. And we may not speak the same language, but we can connect on different levels, especially fashion. Yeah, because you can go online now. You can.
I would definitely like that. Yeah, like I just said earlier, music is crazy. Like if you look at TikTok, you got anyone from all types of cultures doing all the dance move, you know, doing shoki, doing all that.
And there's this really cool couple. I think they're from Bournemouth that you can see. I can't remember their names. They're very popular online at the moment. But they're singing Ashake's Yoruba lyric for lyric. They don't understand Yoruba whatsoever.
There's also this middle-aged white guy as well. Yeah, the middle-aged white guy that goes to the concert and he sings the word for word and he does all the dance.
Because people speak Spanish and people sing Spanish songs and don't understand it. But so why can't they speak Yoruba and understand it? And I think it's such a beautiful thing to see people coming together and trying to relate on a deeper level than the surface.
If we can, let's just talk a little bit about the menu and some of your, I mean, the menu, yes, but I guess some of your signature dishes. Tell us about them. Tell us about some of the stories. What makes them so incredible? And I guess we've got to talk. You can't talk about signature without talking about jollof, right?
Of course.
And I said to you before we started recording this that I reckon that my jollof looks almost as good as yours. I'm not sure.
But does it taste, Charles? Does it taste?
You need to know about the taste. Has it got the smokiness? Has it got the
Does it have that smoky flavour that you can only get by reading our book?
Yeah. Absolutely. Tell us about some of those.
Yeah, I think one of our groundbreaking dishes that goes down really well at the bar, it's definitely a dish that you'll have to come in to get because our fried chicken isn't actually in the book.
Okay.
But Two Fly Chicks is named after me and Joey. I think Two Fly Chicks, I mean, come on, look at us, we're pretty fly. But also it's a staple dish that combines the sweet flavors that we enjoy that are very British, but also the traditional Nigerian aspect. So it's very much a part of who we are as people. It also has your traditional plantain, our homemade hot sauce, our forbidden sauces. So it pays homage to the old, but also takes us into the new. And I think that's a bit of us.
Definitely. We've got our traditional suya as well, but we've also kind of adapted it because Nigerians usually eat tough meat and it's not every day going to the dentist.
You don't want to struggle anymore.
I don't want to lose any more teeth or filling trying to eat that tough meat.
We want soft life.
Yeah, no, we want soft life. So we've adapted recipes that are more delicate to our palate, you know, more easier to eat. We cooked it in a way that it still pays homage to our heritage, but also to our palate and to maintain our teeth. You know, we cooked it at a spice level that everyone else can eat. We got jollof. We've got cassava chips, which is our twice cooked chips, which is cassava. But what we've done is we've cooked it down. Because sometimes when you go to some Nigerian restaurants, they have like yam fries and yam is dry. Like no matter how much you want to cook that yam is too tough. But we found a way that looking like another starchy root bread. We looked at cassava and cutting it down, boiling it and frying it and making them like nice and crispy on the outside and nice and gooey. So we've kind of taken some traditional Nigerian ingredients and put it in a way that suits the British palate.
I think it suits everyone's palate.
It does suit everyone's palate,
Yeah, because I think there's a lot of old methods of cooking in the Nigerian culture that people need to shake, like using, like the billet rice. We no longer use that, we use part boiled rice. So there's certain tweaks that can take our food from being okay to sensational. And that's what our book does. Our book is sensational because we've looked at different cooking methods, we've tried and tested them and worked out ways to kind of take our cuisine to another level.
So for anyone, you talked about your suya there. Can just explain what is suya for anyone that's listening that isn't aware of what suya is all about? Tell us a bit about that.
So suya is the spice that actually just it's a nut based spice that goes on top of the meat,
Yeah.
which is particularly grilled or barbecued, and it's basically a combination of peanuts, really dry roasted peanuts, paprika, you got cayenne pepper, you got calabash nutmeg, and several ingredients that you can find in our book.
Yeah, so buy
And
it.
and it's normally placed on top of the meat, which is marinated in the spice and cooked over a charcoal grill.
Yeah.
You can it's literally like one of the biggest street foods you'll find in Nigeria. Nigeria, you couldn't go to Nigeria and say that you haven't tried suya, because you'll be walking 5 minutes into Lagos or anywhere, you'll see a man with a barrel, like just burning like different suya spices everywhere. Like literally, no matter where you go in Nigeria, it's on
You
the
will
street,
smell it
easily
from your
accessible,
house. You will
and
smell it as
it's
you
so
get out of the
addictive.
bus.
It's
And on
addictive.
what sort of protein? What do you normally find it applied to? Chicken?
You can have it with anything, really. I think beef is the traditional like staple,
Yeah.
but you can have it with chicken. We do it with chicken, we do it with beef. Lamb as well is very popular as well.
Yeah.
So you can have it with so many different things. But I think in Nigeria, traditionally, you'd find it with beef.
Yeah.
But your chicken is also very popular too. So chicken, lamb, and beef you'll see on the street food scene. And people have also started doing things like suya prawns. So
Yeah.
it's taking things like it's literally just a season that goes on top. So you
Yeah.
can actually put it on anything. If you're vegan, you can do it with jackfruit. You
Yeah,
can do it with plantain. So you can chop and change, but traditionally
Yeah.
beef, lamb, and chicken.
Cool.
Yeah.
What are some of the, if you think about the Nigerian larder and looking through the book,
Oh yes.
there's so many different and exciting ingredients within there. Can you just name check a few of those that really, I guess, would stand out compared to other cuisines and other cultures that really make Nigerian cooking and Nigerian food that, you know, extra special?
So yeah, I would say obviously, Nigerian Guinness. Like we have like our Guinness. I think we've got our Guinness ribs, isn't it? In
I
the
saw
in the
that in
book.
the book, yeah.
That's the ribs. And Guinness in Nigeria. People don't know we're the second largest consumers of
Third.
Guinness, actually. We're the third. Oh, who's the
Yeah.
first and the second?
First is Ireland,
Ireland.
second is the UK, and we're the third.
Ah, yeah. So we actually brew our own sort of like style of Guinness in Nigeria, and we love it. It comes in a pint size, it comes in a smaller size, and it's a lot stronger and stouty.
Oh,
So
really?
we've kind of adopted that into some of our recipes to kind of put a staple on Nigerian cuisine and Nigerian food. So
Yeah, and I think there's also great new beers as well that have come out. Like our friend has a brewery in Peckham called Echo Brewery. So if you're ever in Peckham or if you want to order, I mean, he ships to everywhere and anywhere. So get in contact with Echo Brewery. Our friend called Anthony's opened his own brewery and he makes beers out of things like palm wine. He's got some great hops and that are all Nigerian ingredients as well.
Really?
So yeah, so he's actually sourced all this from Nigeria. So it's a beautiful beer. Some of them are sweet, some of them are stouty. He's kind of giving Guinness a run for its money, to be honest. But there's a lot of great Nigerian drinks out there.
Crayfish is something you use quite a lot as well, isn't it?
Oh
yes,
yeah.
Tell us a bit about that sort of smoky, fishy kind of flavor. How do you use that in? How does that come through in Nigerian cooking? Some of the dishes.
So yeah, crayfish is predominantly used actually with some more of the big swallow dishes. So we like the big old school, like traditional, authentic dishes like egusi soup, okra stew. We also use it in our shito sauce.
Yeah.
We also use it in akra, but our akra is vegan. But it's kind of used to cook more of the sort of wholesome dishes, which gives it that onion taste. I think we went on Sunday brunch and we fed like Simon and Tim some egusi soup, and they couldn't place the taste. And it's the surf and sort of turf of both meats and fish to combine together. It gives you that undertaste of like a smokiness, but it's also very sweet.
Yes.
It's like it's very sweet. So it's like got all the crabs and it's got all the little critters of the sea that is kind of like dried and smoked out, and it gives a sweet taste to things. I can't explain it. It's just one of those.
I had it with the one that you very kindly gave me about. I actually had it with suya to balance a bit of the heat as well.
Condiment
So we
absolutely loved.
Yeah, because we also make a crayfish
Yeah.
ketchup, which I think is what you had the pleasure of enjoying.
Yeah.
So we also use it as a ketchup as well. So it can be used as a dipping sauce. We've now made it into our own ketchup because it gives it a sweet, smoky flavor. It also has a slight spice, but not too hot.
Not too hot.
And that's a great thing that accompanies all dishes. So it can accompany our cassava. Like you said, you had it with the beef suya because of that sweetness in it as well. So there's so many different things that you can use it for. But like Jo said, predominantly it's our swallow dishes. And also we've made our own creation of it with the ketchup. But there's also traditional things, which is originally Ghanaian, our shito, that we use because we think it's a beautiful, smoky, rich flavor that can't be missed off the book go out menu.
I love the fact that in the book you're open-minded and pragmatic enough to include influences. You know, you can see that first, second generation influence come through, your openness to fuse Nigerian flavors and dishes with other formats from other cuisines. That's super exciting to me.
Thank you very much. I think that's great. That shows in our plantain tacos and our soufflé pancakes, and again the jollof arancinis, and our Lagos mess as well, which is obviously a play on Eton mess. I think for us it's all about bringing people together, showing people the similarities between our foods, so to show that we're not so distant as strangers, we're actually quite close as people, as human beings. And I think you have to kind of break that barrier of understanding and let people see that through food. I think that's so important because we all eat, we all enjoy these cuisines, and we've made sure we pick these staple dishes that mean something in each culture, and we kind of put our own spin on it because that is the best way to kind of relate to people and build bonds beyond breakable measures. So
I have to ask you before we finish a couple more questions for you, but what the Flygerians, you know, what's in the name? Why call yourself the Flygerians?
And we called ourselves the Flygerians. It was a childhood, in our childhood, this was a name that lots of our friends used to call us because we're fly, we're Nigerian. It's a colloquial term that's used in Nigeria quite a lot to describe someone who's cool, who's vibrant, who's fun, who's a party starter, and is also Nigerian. But we're opening our doors so anyone can audition to be a Flygerian. As long as you bring the energy, you bring the vibe, and you're a good person. That's all you need.
Definitely. The Flygerians is anybody that is not typically they're Nigerian, but Charles, you're a Flygerian today.
Yes,
you've got that Flygerian energy. It's anybody that is really. We accept allies. So you are Ade Charles, you know what I mean? You're Flygerian because you bring that Flygerian energy, and you're all about inclusivity and diversity and champion different cultures. So that's why you're a Flygerian today too.
Yes.
I'm highly honoured. I came here today not expecting to get a Nigerian name, but I'm highly honoured to get one.
I had it to you.
Today is your naming ceremony, Ade Charles.
I want to ask you just to close. I mean, I could talk to you all day, really. But I want to ask you. You know, you're riding the crest of, well, not only your own wave, but a bigger wave of Nigerian food and culture, and as part of a broader growing awareness of West African cuisine. But where do you want to take this? What's next for
world domination? We want to take this by bottling our sauces. We want our sauces to be a household name in every UK home, and hopefully after that, the world. And we also want to open our restaurant as well. We don't want just one restaurant. We want multiple chains of Nigerian restaurants in every major city in the UK.
I don't see why Flygerians can't be the next Nando's. I feel like everybody needs a jollof and suya restaurant right next to them in their city. There's no reason why we can't have that everywhere. So I think if we could franchise and branch out and just spread the love of Nigerian food, that would be a massive end goal, you know.
And also we'd like to do ready meals as well. So we've kind of had a few talks with a few major retailers. None that we've agreed to yet. So if there's anyone out there who wants to go into partnership, put the Flygerians on a high street or in a great supermarket chain, we'd love to speak to them about boxing our ready meals so everyone can have the pleasure of enjoying Flygerians if they're not able to cook or they don't have access to cookers or the right things that they need to kind of make our dishes. We would love to put their mind at ease and bring it to them because, like we mentioned before, it's all about social inclusion. No one gets left behind. So let's get it.
Well, and it all starts with experiencing this energy and the flavor in these incredible dishes. So where, how can people, as well as buying your incredible cookbook, but how and where do people experience the Flygerians firsthand? Tell us.
So they can experience the Flygerians. We're located at Peckham Palms, in Peckham, just off Peckham High Street. They can experience the culture at our restaurant and bar, but they can also experience it by buying our Flygerian cookbook, which is available on Amazon and across major stores like WH Smith's as well.
It is a beautiful book, actually. It really is.
Thank you so much.
And so often you look through books and you feel that dishes are a bit of a stretch, or there's something that you can't do. But I have to say, going through that, so many of the dishes resonate, and you feel that actually they look so enticing and beautiful. You want to go off and cook them. So yeah, definitely do that, and enter the Jolliffe Wars, right?
Yes. Well, we'll see you next time. Make sure you bring your sample.
I want to try it.
Yeah, I'm sure it's amazing, Charles. I'm sure.
I'm going to bring you some. Look, honestly, I could talk to you all day, but we've got to wrap up, and that concludes this episode of the Food People in Conversation with Jess.
Thank you.
On behalf of us all at the Food People and this In Conversation with audience, thank you so much for joining me today with all your amazing insight and your energy and your passion for what you do. You're a true inspiration. Thanks.
Thank you so much for having us. What an absolute pleasure to be here today. So we really appreciate you. And to everyone listening, go get your book.
Amazing. Thank you.